Hello, welcome to Tuesday Night Live with independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator Teresa Harper. I'm located in Sheridan, Oregon, in the United States. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so happy that you're here. We are going to make a couple of cards tonight, and we're going to start with a bundle called Fluffy Squirrel. This came out in the mini catalog that was released on September 3rd. So we're going to be using that, and we're going to be doing a fun fold. So let's see. Here's the catalog, and it's a punch bundle. And let's see, I'm not sure what page that's on, but let's see if we can get up the video so I can see any comments. I've struggled the last few weeks trying to get to the comments, so let's see how that goes tonight. Oh, yay! Yay, right away. I had heard earlier from some other demonstrators that Facebook was giving some issues, but that worked for me, so thank you. Thank you, Facebook, for letting that work. Hello, Jennifer. Hello, Laura. Hello, Tracy. We've had quite a bit of entertainment from a little squirrel who has decided that he really likes gathering nuts in our yard and tormenting the cats. So I really love this bundle. It reminds me of that little squirrel. All right, congratulations to the new grandma. Such an adorable grandson she has, Tracy. All right, so let's go ahead. I'm going to wait just one more minute to see if anybody else jumps on. You guys, I feel like I've got a frog in my throat, and I've been fighting it all day. So I hope you'll forgive me if I'm struggling. Hello, Cynthia. Welcome. All right, let's go ahead and do this. So we're going to use the Fluffy Squirrel bundle. This is a punch bundle. And again, it's in the mini catalog. Let's see. And it is on page, well, why am I having trouble finding that? Fluffy Squirrel, page 49 is where you'll find that. And Stampin' Up! Has provided some really cute samples for you. But we're going to make a column card today with this. Okay? So let's go ahead and move these out of the way, and we'll get started. Okay, so the designer series paper that I'm using tonight is called Weekend Adventures. This pack of designer series paper is great for a lot of things, but one of the things about it that's really nice is that you can make multiples, because this particular pack, instead of having 2 each of 6 double-sided designs, it has 4 each of 3 double-sided designs. So these are your designs, and one of these has little teeny tiny acorns on it, which of course is perfect for our squirrel. So as I watched him gather his little acorns, and then you've got this hiking type paper, but on the back of that is a very neutral, this is Misty Moonlight and white splatter. And then you've got a Cajun Craze and Early Espresso plaid. And then you have this piece. So very, very useful for many, many occasions. Okay, so the other thing that I'm using for this is the paper tags dies. These were released in the May 2025 online exclusives. There is a new coordinating stamp set in the mini to go along with these dies. And it is called, let me see if I can find it. I thought it was tags or something. I can't remember. Oh, Magic and Hope. This coordinates with these two swirlies go in these dies in the mini holiday catalog right now. So we're going to be using this large one specifically for that. And then you guys, for the inside sentiment, I pulled, for the inside, or for the sentiment I'm putting on the back, I pulled an old retired stamp set. You can use whatever you want, but I did not find what I was looking for as far as sentiments go in anything that was current. And so I'm pulling an old retired stamp set called Inspired Thoughts for this. It's time to be remembered, to feel appreciated, and to know you're celebrated. We just don't have any good inside birthday sentiments right now. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started on our card. Like I said, this is a column card. We're going to start with a piece of early espresso that is 5.5 by 11. Okay, and then we're going to score that. Okay, at 4.25, 5 3/4, 7 1/4, and 8 3/4. Okay, 4.25, 5 3/4, 7 1/4, 8 3/4. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead. One of the most important aspects of this card is to make sure that you get these folds nice and crisp. And you know, when I fold, I make a valley score. The score line dips in, and then I push it back to make a mountain fold. Okay. And we're going to do the same thing with all of those score lines. Okay. So now we've got this. All right, let's go ahead and add some designer series paper to this, keeping in mind that this is going to be the inside of our card, and these scores are going to be the outside. Okay. So let's go ahead. We're going to put designer series paper on these three, not this one. We're going to put some adhesive on this one, but we're going to put our designer series paper on those three there. And so I have 3 pieces of designer series paper here. These are cut at 1 1/4 by 5 1/4. Now, if you want them to be a little bit taller, you would want to go 1 3/8 by 5 3/8. But for this particular card, I'm doing it this way, and it also saves on paper by doing that. So your cuts will come out a little more evenly with less waste on your paper. So we're just going to center those up as best we can within these 3 sections, and that doesn't look like I got it even close to straight. And where is my little thing? That is not good. I need it. There it is. It's hiding. I don't know why. It's right where it should be. There we go. Okay, if you want to do this, then lift gently, and as long as you didn't press it too hard, Stamp and Seal will let you reposition if you do it quickly. Okay, that is definitely better. Okay. That's one of the things I like about Stamp and Seal. It won't reposition after a couple of hours, but if you get to it pretty quickly and you're gentle, you can pick it up and reposition. All right. I'm so glad you like them, Tracy. Fluffy Squirrel is really growing on me fast. I think I could make a ton of different cards. I actually have one other card made. We're not making it tonight. We'll do that in the future. But at this point, I'm just trying to give you guys some a variety of things to look at. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to put adhesive on this strip right here. We're going to glue this down. Okay, then I'm going to take and I'm going to fold this. I'll fold that. I'm going to lay this down. I'm going to fold this flap in. And then I'm going to go from the second one right here so that I have two panels showing. I'm going to lay those flat. Remember, this is where our adhesive is. And then I'm just going to give that a good press. Just like that. Okay? Now you might be thinking, now, well, that's not going to fit into an envelope, but give me just 1 minute. And I'll show you how that's going to work. So then we're going to take another piece of that Weekend Adventures Designer Series paper. And this piece is 2.5 by 5.25. And we're going to put that right here. And again, we're going to center this up as best we can. All right. Okay. So now we have our column card. Okay. And it's going to stand for display like that. And when you go to put it in an envelope, all you're going to do is fold this in, put it in the envelope. This is a standard 4.25 by 5.5 inch size. You'll put it in, and then when the recipient gets it, it'll pop up. Cool, huh? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move to the back. And this is where I'm going to put my section to write on. And so I've already done this. I stamped an acorn and a gift, and then that sentiment from Inspired Thoughts. And I'm just going to add this to the back of my card here. And this one I've done at 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. Okay. So now we have that ready. This is ready. Let's go ahead and make our focal point. Okay. So I've got a piece here of the Designer Series, that same Weekend Adventures. This is just the reverse side of this pattern. And this piece I've cut at 2.25 by 4.25. Okay. Then I took a piece of the acorn pattern and the paper tag die. So I took this piece and I die cut with this die this piece. And we're going to add this to our, that is not looking the right size, you guys. I know I have that. It's a little bit, what did I do wrong? Oh, I think this is supposed to be 2.5, not 2.25. Yep, 2.5. I did it wrong. Okay, let's get us another piece of that. That's 2.5. I mean, that one would work, but it's not going to give me the border that I want. So let's just grab another piece of that Designer Series paper. We have plenty. Let's see if I have a scrap big enough. I do. Well, maybe. Maybe I grabbed the wrong piece. No, that's the wrong one. Okay, there we go. Well, let's just find us a piece in here. I don't have a scrap, so we'll make one. So let's grab our paper trimmer and move these out of our way. And I'm just going to cut this at 2.5. And then 4.25. All right, that should be the right size now. That's going to much better. Yes, that fits way better. So let's go ahead and attach this with some Stampin' Seal. Oh no. Hang on. No, I can still attach this. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. I'm good. Because what we're going to add to this goes on top. So we're good. Whew. Okay. So then with a piece of old olive, I've cut another one of these paper tags, but I didn't need a full one. So I just took a scrap piece and I cut that. Okay. Man, I got kind of a mess here. Okay, let's move these out of the way now. I don't think we need these again. And then we're going to grab the Scenic Adventure dies. Okay. These were I think, May online exclusive. And I'm going to take from here, I'm going to take this grassy piece. This does have a coordinating stamp set. Yes, you can purchase this in a bundle, the Scenic Adventure bundle. And this is actually part of the suite that the Weekend Adventure paper is in. So we've got that. And we're going to take this piece here. And I'm going to put this on here kind of like this. And then I'm going to look at this about right here. Okay, and actually before we do that, let's set this aside just like that. And then let's pull out our stamping paper. Let's get a piece of basic white. Let's bring in our squirrel because we're going to need this. And let's bring in some other things that we need to stamp. Okay, so we're going to use early espresso and pecan pie. We're going to start with early espresso. I'm going to grab my squirrel punch so that I can look at this to see where I need to stamp. Okay. So I'm going to take my squirrel outline. And I'm going to put this over here. And by putting this over here, then I won't waste any paper with the acorn. Okay. So we're going to stamp that. While I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and stamp my acorn. And I'm going to put that over here. Okay. And then I'm done with this for the moment. We're going to take, oh, no, I'm not. I forgot to stamp my tree trunk. I need that. Let's grab our tree trunk. We're stamping that in early espresso as well. Okay. Then we're going to take pecan pie. I'm going to ink that up. And I'm going to line up his eye and his foot and his ear. Cover that over and then let it drop. Sit for a minute and soak into the paper. Not really pressing. Okay. So we've got that. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and color our log here, our tree stump. We're going to start with dark pecan pie. And I'm just going to take this, I'm going to go across the top here in these little sections here where there would be a shadow. And then I'm going to go and just follow the artist's lines. For the wood grain. Okay, and that's with my dark pecan pie. And then I'm going to go back with my light pecan pie. And I'm just going to fill this all in. Okay. And while we're coloring, we might just as well color our acorn. So I'm going to start with the Natural Tones Deep SU 100. I'm just going to put that there. Just going to lightly put my cap on and set that down. I'll be back with that. And then I'm going to do the Medium Deep SU 300. You will not find these in the regular spot in the annual catalog for the rest of the blends in the color collections. This one is a little bit further up. Now I'm going to go back with my Deep SU 100 and I'm just going to fill in a little bit more so I have a shadow. By letting the alcohol evaporate, that's going to give me a little bit of extra depth because I'm using the same color of marker. Okay, so when I'm done, it looks like that. Okay, now let's go ahead and punch these out. I'm going to start by punching my acorn. And we're just going to put this in here like so. Line that up. And then I'm going to push it just gently on the punch and hold that in place. And then give it a full punch. And then we're going to do the same thing with our squirrel. I'm going to line him up. And once I'm happy with his placement, I'm going to hang on to that, and then I'll use two hands to punch. Okay, now there is nothing for the tree trunk, so we're just going to take and fussy cut this out real quick. It's a pretty easy fussy cut. So we'll just start over here. One of the things that you want to think about when you're fussy cutting is where do you want to end? Because you don't want to end in a spot that's going to be a little bit on the harder side. So think about that when you start. And then we're just going to give this a little bit of a fussy cut. I'm leaving a little bit of white around it until I get to the top. And then I'm going to cut that pretty close to that line. Okay, so that it looks like that. Okay, now that's going to help us with this piece here. Okay, so we're going to put this down. we're going to take a look at where we're going to put these. And I really want this to show at the bottom. And then I want my squirrel to be here. And this looks like it's going to work just about perfectly for my grass. So I'm just going to tape that. I'm going to move these things aside. Grab my mini cut and emboss machine. I'm going to throw this on here. Just like that. And then I'm going to run it through. Okay. And now I have this piece that I can add to here and give it some grass. Now, you can leave it as is, or you can bring in a blending brush, which I forgot to grab, and a little bit, I'm going to grab a little bit of Mossy Meadow ink. This is Old Olive. And I'm just going to give this a little bit of extra oomph, a little bit of extra definition, just by adding a little bit of darkness right here at the top with the grass. Okay. You guys know what I forgot to do. Forgot to wet my chamois, but this seems to be wet enough to do what I need it to do. Okay, sweet. So that'll work. All right. So now we can add this piece here. And then we can finish up this card. Okay. Now, if you ever have trouble with your Stampin' Seal, just grab a silicone sheet, roll it across. Just a little tip for you that gets that. That'll work with any type of adhesive you have. The adhesive won't actually stick to the silicone mat, but it gets your adhesive moving. Okay, so now we have this. Let's add our squirrel on. We're going to do that with just a little bit. Not our squirrel. I'm going to take our tree trunk here. I'm just going to add a couple of dimensionals, keeping more toward the bottom because I want to kind of tuck that squirrel in here. So we're going to put this about right here. Okay, and then for our squirrel, we're going to put him up on dimensionals. Okay. Oh, and before we go any further, I want my squirrel to look like he's holding the acorn. So I'm going to take out this excess bit of white right here. Just going to trim this close. And to make it look a little more natural, I'm just going to take it up like that, and no one will notice that we have taken that little tiny bit off there. And then we'll add him on here, like so. Just like that. And then we're going to take our acorn And again, you can just pop this on there if you want to. I don't like it with the white border because I want it to look like it's all one image. So I'm going to take most of this white border off. I don't mind fussy cutting. I know others hate it. So by all means, if you don't want to, don't do that. Just put it down, put a dimensional on it, and pop it right here. So it looks like Mr. Squirrel is holding that out. And this is now ready to go on our card. So let's bring in our card. Remember, this is going to fold down this way. So we need to make sure that we only put glue where it's going to go on here. Okay, we're not going to put any adhesive on this side. Otherwise, or we're going to do it here. Sorry. This is the section that we wanted in, the third section. Okay, so it's going to go like this. And when I did mine, I butted it right up to the designer series paper on this section, but I'm not going to go past the middle of this. So I'm just going to take some Stampin' Seal, and I'm going to run a couple of lines, and then I'm going to place this down here, center that, because I need to make sure that this stays within the boundary here so that it will go in the envelope. I'll do that, and then I'm going to give that a good burnish with my fingers. Okay, so we're almost finished here. We need one tiny little sentiment for the inside and a sentiment for the top here. So in order to do the sentiment for the top, what I did was I took a piece of Old Olive two-tone and I'm embossing. Okay, so I'm going to use my embossing buddy. We're going to take and I'm going to put this in my stamp positioner tool. And then I'm going to start with Early Espresso. Okay, I'm going to ink that up. Make sure that's nice and tight in the corner. This is why I want to make sure it's nice and tight in the corner. And then that is definitely not bright enough for me, so I'm going to go back and stamp it again. Okay, and then let's go one more time. Making sure that stays nice and tight in the corner. Okay. And then we're going to clean that real fast. Okay. And then we're going to take our Versamark. Where did I put the Versamark ink? Right in front of my nose. Yep, I know you guys were all yelling at me. It's right there. Okay, so I've got my Versamark ink. Making sure that's in the corner again. Now I'm going to set that aside. Bring in my Embossing Editions toolkit. Clear embossing powder. This is from the Basics collection. Okay. Go ahead and set that aside so I don't dump it. Then we'll take our heat tool and we'll heat that up. I'm going to start from the back. That helps with the warping. And then that will magically turn brown. Okay, so we have that. And then we're going to take this. Now you could just cut this straight and put it on your card. Not me. I'm going to fussy cut this out. And the reason that I'm fussy cutting it out is because the corners of the tag that we're putting it on are rounded. And so I didn't want to have a rectangular sentiment. Okay, now you maybe could find a die or a punch that you like that would work, especially if you don't like fussy cutting. But I don't think this takes that long. Not for me anyway. For some, until you get practiced up, it can take some time. So there is our sentiment. And we're going to take some more Stampin' Dimensionals here. And we're just going to put these down right there. Yeah, Tracy, I'm right there with you. Those acorns are really easy to fussy cut. And then I'm just going to put this and cover up that hole right there that's on our tag. But we're going to try to center it a little bit better than that so that we're more even and straight. Okay. And finally, we are going to grab another piece of basic white here, and I'm going to take the sentiment, "May you gather happiness." I'm going to stamp this down in the corner. Well, I could have done it a little bit straighter. Let's try that again because it'll make my life easier. There we go. That's much better. And then for this one, I'm just going to trim that out. Now, you could trim this on a trimmer if you're not comfortable. And there we go. So now we have our inside sentiment. And we're going to put a little Stampin' Seal on that. Did I leave my tweezers? There they are. Guys, I can't live without my tweezers. I mean, I can't craft without my tweezers. So I'm going to put this in here, but I want to make sure that it's going to be covered. I want to make sure it's going to be covered, but I also want to make sure it's going to be seen when it's standing. So if I put that on there like that, when it's closed, you can't see it. But when it's open, you can. Okay? So there we go. Now, I thought this was popped up and fancy enough that I'm not putting any gems or anything else on it. That is our card. Okay? And then for the envelope, I took and used Cajun Craze, light Cajun Craze on the gift. And then on the bow, I used dark Cajun Craze. I put down Timid Tiger, dark Timid Tiger, and dark Cajun Craze. And then I colored this the same way I showed you. So there is card number 1. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and get started on card number 2. Card number 2 is really pretty quick. There isn't very much stamping. It's mostly die cuts, and I have most of the die cutting done already. So let's grab that and move this out of the way so it doesn't get smooshed. For the next card, we're using the Lights of Aurora, and then we're also going to be using the Scenic Adventure stamp set and dies. Okay. Our color palette here is Secret Sea and Basic Beige. And really, the stamping is just sentiments and then the inside of our card. Okay. So you can use any paper in the Lights of Aurora for this. This is another one of those. This is 6x6. You get 8 sheets of each pattern. Okay. So you get all of these, and then you get those beautiful, very useful prints on the back that are very subtle. Okay. But 8 sheets of each. Any of these will work. So I've used 2 different sheets on 2 different cards. So we've got these, and we're going to be using those. I've done some of the die cutting already. Our card base for this is a standard A2 size card base, and that is 5.5 by 8.5 and scored in the center at 4 1/4. And we're just going to take this and burnish that and set it aside. We aren't doing anything with that for a while now. Then we have a piece of the Lights of Aurora Designer Series paper. Okay, and this is 4 by 5 1/4. And I think it goes like this. Okay, this is where I see the night sky stars. So we're going to use it like that. And then we've taken from the Scenic Adventure dies, I took a piece of Secret Sea and I cut this set of trees and this tree from Secret Sea. Okay, I took a piece of Basic Black, and what I did was a 4-inch by 3 3/4 inch piece, and then I took the large mountain die and I put it at the top of that 3 3/4, and I ran that through the die cut machine like that. And then I got this piece. So we've got those. And then I took this little mountain piece and a small scrap of Basic Black. This one is about 1, I started at about 1.5, and I put this at the top, and that's going to give me an extra little mountain. And then we're going to take and do together, we're going to take this line of trees and this piece of Basic Gray, and we are going to die cut this. I wanted you to see how this one, you can do this however. You can put it on here like this, You're going to get all kinds of different, you'll never get the same tree line twice depending on how you set this. Okay, so we're going to go ahead. I want a full tree over here, if I can get it. I think I'm going to do it just like this. Okay, and I want that at the top. So I'm going to set that on here like so. And then I'm just going to put a little piece of mint tape there, just to hold that where I want it to go. We'll bring back in the mini, and we'll run that through. Okay. So now we have that piece. Take that off. And you could always use this reverse piece if you wanted. I'm just gonna throw that in the trash. And then before we move on from this one, we're gonna take some Secret Sea ink. Where did I put the I put them both right here. Okay, so we've got Secret Sea. And I'm taking the sentiment, just breathe and take it slow. This is from Scenic Adventures. I'm going to go ahead and flatten that out nice and flat. And then I'm going to put this down here. And try to straighten that up. Let that ink soak in. And now we're ready to start putting our card together. Oh, you know what I forgot? I need to grab a piece of Very Vanilla real quick, you guys. Just the tiniest little scrap is all we need. Or did I use Basic Beige? Hang on, let me look. Nope, I think I used Very Vanilla. Okay, so from the Scenic Adventures, you have this die right here. And I'm going to put this on here, and I just want to make sure that I'm getting the moon here. So we'll bring that back in. I should have done that at the same time. Sorry about that. Almost forgot my moon. This only cuts out the moon. The rest of it, doesn't actually cut. It just put holes in to make it look like stars. I didn't want to do that on my paper and then put a hole in my paper. So I'm just going to cut the moon out and put it on. All right. So now we've got our teeny tiny little moon here. I'm going to go ahead and pick that up with my Take Your Pick tool. And then I'm just going to leave that on my Take Your Pick tool until I need it, because then it won't get lost. Okay, so now we're going to take this piece and these pieces. And here I've got a little bit of a slit, so I need to make sure that I put some adhesive there. So we're going to go ahead and put this down. And be very careful and make sure I get a little bit of adhesive right there. Okay. And that's going to work for me. And then I'm just going to lay this at the bottom and line that up as best I can on the three sides. Okay. Squirrel that down. Then we're going to take this piece. Notice how I didn't put anything at the top. I'm going to put this piece in because I didn't put any adhesive there, so I can slide. So now I can put this little mountaintop in like so. And then I'm going to take my little tree, take a little bit of liquid glue, I'm so glad you guys liked that last card. Okay, so we're going to take this. I'm going to slide that in there like that. And then I'm going to take these two trees, and I'm just going to set these here for now. And I'm going to take and put adhesive along the bottom of here again. I'm not going to get too crazy though, because I want to make sure that the tree trunks are covered mostly. Okay, so I'm basically just going to set this here, get a little bit of glue on these. I like to kind of audition things so that they work out how I want them to. And I'm not putting glue all the way up. I want those tree trunks to kind of stand out. So let's see. I put this here, and I want those to be about right there. So I'll put those in. That's going to come out just about how I want. And then I'll go ahead and put a second row of adhesive here. And then we're just going to put that down and line it all up on the side there. You know what I do need to do though? Give me that. I'm going to put just the tiniest bit of glue along here so that these don't get caught on the envelope when it's being slipped in and slipped out. Because those pieces will be fully attached. Okay, we'll hold that for just a second. Okay, and then we've got our moon right here. We put just the tiniest dot of liquid glue, and then I'm just going to put this moon right here in the sky, like so. Put this away before I lose it. That could be disastrous. And now we're ready to attach this to our card. Okay. And really, that was a pretty simple card to put together, but it doesn't look so simple. Okay. So we've got that. I'm going to flip this over and burnish everything down. My bone folder. And then we have our inside piece. And on this inside piece, I didn't pre-stamp this because I wanted to show you guys. I'm going to take this tree and some Secret Sea ink. I'm going to grab some scratch paper. I'm going to stamp off. Yep, that's what I want. I'm going to stamp off. And then I'm going to stamp here. And then from the Scenic, oh, and then I've got another tree, taller tree. We're going to put this one here. Stamp that off. Actually, should have probably stamped this one first. But it's okay. We got it. And then we're going to take some, oh, while I was doing that, I should have been doing this. Silly me, because really what I should have done was stamp full. That's what I was going to show you guys. And I forgot. Stamp this on your envelope and then stamp it on the inside of your card with the stamp off. Then you don't have to put it on your, waste your ink on your paper there. But I forgot what I was going to show you. So there we are. Okay, so here, let's do it now. We're going to take the basic beige and we're going to take this. It looked like clouds to me. I'm sure you could use it as a mountain. I'm going to take and put this here on my envelope. And then man, that really doesn't show up. Let's try that again. Let's do a quick stamp off. And there we go. Okay, I took too much ink off the first time. So there's the inside of our card. And we have our envelope ready. I always like to make my inside pretty because why should the party stop when you open the card and go inside? And then there you have the envelope. Oh, wait a minute. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot. I do have gems for this one. Where did I put my frosted gems? Frosted, where are they? Let me find them, you guys. Frosted iridescent. Iridescent foil, iridescent. Where the heck? What are those called? I forgot to pull them. And now I can't find them. Tracy, do you have any idea what I'm... Thanks, Laura. I'm glad you like that card. Low profile, low profile. I was pretty sure they were in this frosted. I didn't pull them. Okay. They're in that same... Oh, here they are right here. Right in front of my nose. Staring at me. Okay. Frosted iridescent dots. These are from that Aurora suite. The Light and Wonder. Actually, it's called Lights of Aurora suite. I did not use the bundle that goes with that because when I looked at the Lights and Wonder bundle, I decided I would get more use from Scenic Adventures. So that's what I went with. But we're going to take these frosted dots. And I'm going to take some of these blue ones. These colors are Berry Burst, Gorgeous Grape, and Balmy Blue. And I'm going to kind of put these in the sky like they're stars. Okay, like that. All right, there you have it. Our finished card. And that just goes to show you, if you just get the Designer Series paper, pull out any of your Scenic stamps, they'll all work. Anything that you have that looks kind of like a silhouette will work on here. Okay, so let's bring back in our other project, which is our Squirrel birthday card, and that's what we made tonight. I hope you enjoyed that. I sure enjoyed preparing it for you. Thanks so much for joining me. I love all the likes, the comments, the shares. That helps my channel a lot. I appreciate you so much. I hope to be back on YouTube on Thursday night with a live, and then I'll be back here next Tuesday night at 7, unless there's a volleyball game. Abby started volleyball, and I'm not sure when the season starts, and I'm not sure what the games are. I'll keep you posted, though. All right, everybody. Have a great week, and I will see you soon. Thanks so much. Good night.